Whoa, and it be Ryan the Great, and today we are previewing the Commanders versus Eagles Week 4 matchup, and this is one of our only 1 o'clock games Eastern time for the Philadelphia Eagles. That is very good, and hopefully we do see a win today. We face Washington Commanders, the Eagles undefeated, looking to stay undefeated and claim their spot as the top team in the NFC. So, I'm going to be previewing the Eagles versus Commanders game today, and we're just going to get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe to the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother, Leon the Great Blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the second edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video and let's roll that intro. Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today... Oh, hell yeah! Well, it's not that hard to understand if you know anything about football. Touchdown! A touchdown! Philly! And the Phillies walk it off! Alright, let's get right into the video. So starting off, we always start off with the Eagles. We start off with the offense, and we start off with the quarterback, so Jalen Hurts. He should have a good week this week. The pass rush of Washington has not been so good over the past couple of weeks, even though Montez Sweat, Chase Young, Payne, and those boys haven't had a few good weeks. Very good for the Philadelphia Eagles. He should have a lot of time to throw in the pocket, which should mean no interceptions this week. Last week, he had a 1-2 touchdown interception ratio. That shouldn't happen this week. Also, I'd like to see a little bit of a better completion percentage this week. Last week, it was around 62%. I'd like to raise that to around 66, 67, maybe even 70. We will have to see there. But moving on to the running back position, the Swift Eras Tour is returning to Philly, and I think this one will be a little more electric. There is no stopping DeAndre Swift at all, and if he can keep doing what he's doing, which is hitting the holes hard, breaking tackles, he should dominate. We know that all too well. I know you guys love the reference anyway. But moving on to the wide receiver spot, A.J. Brown. The Washington secondary didn't play terrible last week. But they did play terrible against Stephon Diggs, who had over 100 yards receiving. And is A.J. Brown in the same category or in conversation as Stephon Diggs? Right now, I think so. I think just like last week, we should get him the ball early. That's a recipe for success, and we'll take it from there. Devontae Smith, not a big week last week, but based off of his success against the Commanders recently, I think that he should have a solid game. From what I saw last year, they really couldn't keep up with his speed. So we got to utilize that this week. Omalade Zacchaeus, let's go, baby. Here comes St. Joe's Prep. He might get a little more focus this week based off his 2 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Or is it 50-something yards? I don't even remember. But I know 2 catches, touchdown. But, good week last week. He's got to prove it this week that he can remain that number 3 receiver. Waquez Watkins is also down with an injury. Do I think he's capable? Absolutely. Moving on to the tight end spot. I mean, come on. They can't really guard Goddard. I really don't even know their linebacker core in general. So Goddard has to be involved this week. He should be involved in RPOs, running his routes just like last week. Basically what he was doing last year, put it forward into this year. It's not that hard to form a game plan like that. Moving on to the offensive line. The Washington defensive line has had no sacks this season and gave Josh Allen a lot of time to throw in the pocket. Based off of last week, I should see the same amount of protection, based off of the fact that the Eagles were going one-on-one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line, and, they were making a big deal about it. And they did a really good job. Only gave up 1 sack, and DeAndre Swift, 130 yards, this, that, and the other. And the Swift show is just getting started, so don't let the party end too soon. So let's do this. The defense. So let's talk about the defensive line first. I think it's Jalen Carter week. Who's ready? I know I am. There's going to be double team, though. We all know that. But can they stop him? Absolutely not. And when they do realize that there's another form of a Fletcher Cox involved in that defensive line who has had a really solid year to start so far. He might not have 7 sacks on the season, but I think he's had a really good start to the year. So he should be putting pressure on Howell with seeing him go one-on-one. Hassan Redick, I think he should get some action this week. He's been a little too quiet, and hopefully he wakes up this week, because sooner or later we're going to need him to make a play for us. Because once we go to the better teams, we're going to need him to start making plays. So hopefully this is a warm-up game for him. For our linebackers, I always fear the dual running backs, and especially Gibson and Brian Robinson Jr. after what they did to us last year on the ground. So I think Cunningham and Morrow, they should be filling up holes. And, they had good tackling games last week. They were stopping, what do you call it? I'm blanking on his name. Rashad White to short, no, or minus yardage. And hopefully we have the same thing this week and they don't traumatize me. I don't know why I forgot Rashad White's name. My apologies there. But moving on, the cornerbacks. Now, the pass rush should be good enough to the point where House shouldn't even get the ball to the receivers down the field. And the corners have done a good job tackling, so that gives me confidence that they will do well this week because I do believe Washington will go for short passes because of the fact that the defensive line is going to create pressure on him. So I think that we should be able to tackle effectively this week, and hopefully we do a good job there. But I'm not going to say this should be an easy week because the fear of McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and Jonathan Dotson is very, very scary in my eyes. As long as the defensive line does a good job rushing the passer, then we shouldn't have too much of a problem. And also, Sam Howell's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but you never know. Anybody can have their day. And out the safety spot. I mean, hell, we're all hurt. That's the biggest problem. Cindy Brown is out, which makes me mad. Justin Evans is questionable. Actually, I wrote these notes last night. Let's see if he's actually out for the game. I don't even know. Let's try and figure this out. But anyway, while we're figuring that out, I'll continue on. So if Justin Evans is out for tonight's game, we are looking at Terrell Edmonds playing. I don't really know much really to say to him. Not really. I haven't really seen him play for the Eagles. I didn't really see him play on the. Justin Evans is still questionable. So we don't know that yet. I don't really know anything about Terrell Edmonds. I just don't know. I've never really seen him play too much. But I mean, as long as he plays well in coverage, there's not really much to say there. Reed Blankenship, he led the team in total tackles last week with 12. Maybe he should play more of a linebacker if they're going to play, the short game. So if he could play more of a linebacker, which I don't see a problem with because he had 12 total tackles last week, I think he should thrive in that role. Now, at the coaching, I mean, let's keep the Errors Tour 2.0 going and get everybody involved. And the defense should emphasize the pass rush to help us with our secondary. The bottom line, this should be a good game from Jalen this week. And we need it before people in Philadelphia start to get concerned about if he can, repeat what he did last year, be an MVP candidate, and the whole 9 yards. And this should be the week where Jalen Carter shows everyone that he is the leader for Defensive Rookie of the Year, and the pass rush should be excellent. For the final score, I have the Commanders at 8 and the Eagles at 35. I think the Eagles should easily handle this one. They have some momentum because it is just a little bit of a shorter week for them. They only had 6 days to prepare because they play Monday Night Football. They should keep that momentum going and move on to beat the Commanders. And let's get on to the harder teams, get some real competition in here. I'm not saying the Commanders aren't a half-decent team. I think that they have some good pieces. But the Eagles, just a way better team. They should smoke them. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my Royal League Great blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go follow me on X at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.